Hey, what's up, guys? It's Confessions of a Doctorholic with Hassa Slayman and happy SAD, aka Singles Awareness Day. And I reckon we need to talk about this because it's so cool, it's so interesting, and some of my friends, to be honest, have been like, why are you talking about Valentine's Day? Let's celebrate Single Awareness Day. And that might be because some medical students are single at the moment, to focus on studies, or it's too stressful, or for whatever reason. But I found this super interesting. So, Single Awareness Day started in 2001, which is kind of interesting because I just found out about it today, to be honest. But it existed since 2001 because a bunch of brilliant adolescents decided, you know what, we're single, but we shouldn't be moaning and upset about being single. We need to rejoice and celebrate this day. So they were like, okay, we shouldn't celebrate it the same day as Valentine's Day because everything's expensive on Valentine's Day. You name it, chocolates, flowers, whatever. So they were like, how about we celebrate it the following day, and that way everything's on sale so you can get chocolates and candies and whatever your heart desires. And there's been an upgrade in the things available for Singles Awareness Day. So now you've got like singles recipes. I don't know how that works because I feel like, if you're a student or if you live alone, especially during lockdown, isn't every meal sort of like for one person, but you freeze it? I just cook for an entire week, so I'd freeze it and eat it for the rest of the week. So you've got singles recipes like pizzas and brownies, and it kind of seems like on these websites, eat whatever your heart desires. You're single, you don't need to look fit. And that kind of contraindicates the dad bod situation. Anyway, I feel like I'm waffling right now, so I'm not going to go into this, but what I found even more interesting is that apparently in a study conducted in America amongst 1,000 American adults, no idea where in America they're from, but amongst 1,000 of them, 90% dislike being single. And of those, 13% of men were like, I wish I was in a relationship, and 6% of women said that. So it kind of seems like more men wish that they were in a relationship than women. Found this super interesting. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I feel like with any situation, whether you like it, whether you don't like it, whatever, I feel like if you look at the positives of it, you can actually make the best out of any given situation. You know how people ask you, are you a glass half full or are you a glass half empty person? And naturally, you want to be a glass half full person. And some people get a little bit bogged down because they're like, we don't think of situations in a positive light. But you know what I reckon? I reckon if you really want to, you can fill that glass up. You just need to keep training your mind to think in such a way. So let's go back to the Singles Awareness Day because I'm kind of interested about this and I want to change some of yous. If some of you feel a little bit bogged down and you're single and you had a breakup or whatever your situation may be, I reckon we should talk about this. So let's start with number one. Why do you feel lonely? So many people say, I'm single, I'm lonely, I'm alone, there's no one there for me, So why do you feel lonely? I know the lockdown isn't helping and being alone isn't helping. And sometimes, especially during the lockdown, I've also had feelings where I was like, oh boy, it would have been exciting if someone's living with me. But I also feel like it's a thing. If you feel alone, no matter what you do, you will always feel alone. You will always feel isolated. And it's going to increase your health conditions. So you're going to have heart problems or you're not going to sleep very well because you feel down in the dumps. So I want you guys to pause this and think about it. Why do you feel lonely? I've noticed in some of my friends, some of them that used to be in a relationship before medical school. I know I keep talking too much about medical school, hey, but I feel like we're exposed, or at the moment, I'm exposed to more medical students than anyone else. So I'm just kind of CBTing my friends. So one of my mates, she was like, oh my God, my ex texted me. he hasn't texted her in 4 years. And he just texted her. And she was like, I was in a really bad place once he broke up with me. And I don't know how to feel about it. It's like, on one hand, it's like, yay, but I kind of feel lonely and I kind of want to try it. And I was like, absolutely not. He was toxic for you. Like, both of you were toxic for each other in the relationship. So like, why would you go back? And it kind of felt like sometimes when you're alone and you're studying and you're just studying and you forget to take a break and you just kind of feel like your entire world revolves around studying, you stop thinking about, what is joyful in my life? What makes me happy? And you kind of go to that dark place. So if you are one of those people, then I would say take breaks. Take breaks, reconnect with your inner soul. And that sounds very cheesy, but if you're one of those people that feels amazing when you go out hiking or you like exploring, do that. Do that once a week. You could be busy, do that once a week. If you're in a lockdown and you had some books to catch up on, read. If you enjoy watching Netflix shows, watch Netflix, And, some single people are actually happy. I feel like it's a misconception when people go like, they're never happy. And also, on the other hand, there are some people in relationships that are unhappy because it could be a bad relationship. They could be hindering each other. They could be making each other not feel so great about themselves. Sometimes it could be a little bit much. There could be a gazillion scenarios. So you never know what's happening behind closed door. But there is a difference between happy singles and lonely or sad singles. And do you know what that is? That literally is because people who are unhappy and single feel like being single is a burden. And for those of you who are listening to me out there, I want you to just sit with yourself for a few minutes. And it can be hard initially, but write down why it's a blessing. So there are things like freedom. You're more free to travel. You're more free to do whatever you want. You don't have to think about, there's another person that's chilling at home that I need to get back to. You can go out with your friends whenever you want to, and you can live your life. It doesn't have to be a burden. It just all depends on how you see it. So for those of you who are listening to me out there and you feel a little bit down in the dumps because you're single and it was Valentine's Day yesterday and you're just not having it, I just want you to sit with yourself. Sit with yourself for a few minutes and think about why it's a blessing to be single. So for me at the moment, I'm going to use myself as an example, and I hope no one goes like, you're a load of shit. I mean, I have days where I'm just like, oh man, like during lockdown especially, oh man, it would have been cool if I could chill with someone. But at the moment, I'm like, it's my career phase of life. I know what I'm like as a person, and I know it's a little bit difficult for me to juggle studies and a person, and I also feel like it would be a little bit unfair for me to expect this person to be there at my beck and call, but then I have to go back to my hermit phase to study. So I think that's a positive. And also I can focus on myself and improve myself, because I definitely believe that if you grow yourself in character, then you're going to be better in a relationship because you're always having a growth mindset. I don't know, what do you think about it? I kind of feel like I'm lecturing a little bit, but like, I actually want to know, what do you think about it? And the final thing I want to say to conclude this episode is, I reckon people who feel like that, and I'm making a generalization, but do you maybe feel a little bit less confident? Because I feel like sometimes some people need to build self-esteem. I've had a few friends that just broke off a relationship and they knew it wasn't good for them. And they were quite gutted, obviously, because you're missing what it feels like to be in a relationship. So some of them quickly jump into another one, and other ones go like, why aren't we jumping quickly into another one? But I feel like the cycle continues. Why? Because you haven't dealt with everything associated with the previous relationship. You haven't had that appropriate closure. You haven't closed down that chapter. Now, if you have, each person is different. If you have, then good on you, and you clearly know what you're doing. But for those of you who haven't, Sometimes I reckon you feel lonely because you need to build that self-esteem and you need to tell yourself that you are enough. You are good, you're worth it, you are enough, and you must have heard this a million times and a million people would have said that to you, but it's the truth. So I feel like if you do things that build your self-esteem, then you're going in the right direction. And now some of you might be like, oh, but Hafsa, like how the hell are we supposed to build our self-esteem? So it's a process. I've been through that process after I got bullied. There's so many people that go through that process, whether it's like relationship related or not relationship related. There's so many reasons why you would have to build self-esteem. And I would say treat yourself with kindness first. And secondly, start doing things you love. Once you start noticing a trend that you love this thing, you're clearly good at it, you will start gaining that confidence. And you just keep building on it. You keep building and building and building until one day you're super confident. So, guys, let me know what you think. Do you think I have a point? Do you love yourselves this day? And what do you guys do on Singles Awareness Day? You know? I mean, I guess you could do whatever, but like, I want to know what yous are up to. I've just been studying and I just recorded this episode. But, you know, shoot me a text. Shoot me an audio. Let me know what yous are thinking. And have a good one. Bye.